Hello. It's been 2 weeks since my very first Deltarune theory. Well, it's been a minute since I've checked the comments. All I remember is that pretty much nobody was on my side regarding to Rudy being the knight. Also, the majority of the fandom, they are on Team Des, which is understandable. As soon as I saw the knight, I'm like, Des, is that you? Because of antlers and whatnot, and the fact that she's missing. Not gonna lie, I've been sitting on making this video for a while. I didn't think I had enough evidence to back it up, and that was just too unhinged. But fuck it, I'm gonna get this out of the way so I can move on to other projects. So first off, I still believe Rudy is the knight. One of those reasons has to do with Asgore, who we could be potentially fighting in the next chapter. In Asgore's shop, he's got all these flowers that are colored just like the human souls in Undertale, and they all look like Flowey at a pride parade. As we know, he's constantly giving Toriel flowers, hoping that she'll take him back, and they could become a family once again. But Toriel's not the only one receiving flowers. Asgore gives Rudy flowers every time he goes to the hospital. I never thought anything of it. Asgore is just giving his best friend flowers while he's recovering in the hospital. But the thing is, while flowers don't last forever, they're not gonna die immediately. So why does Rudy keep getting a new set of flowers each day? I don't think these are normal flowers. This could be a variation of the Echo flowers. Rudy and Asgore could be communicating with each other via these flowers. Or Asgore could be sending these flowers to somebody else to send some sort of message. Who exactly? Who knows? Could be Carol. Could be Alvin. Probably not Toriel. I think Chris would notice if any of the flowers from the trash can started talking. Also, the fight in chapter 3, you see these type of weird snowflakes, and then they burst into these little white things. I took a screenshot and zoomed in on one of these things. I may be losing my mind over here, but it low-key does look like Rudy. Or it could be Des. She probably has the same face structure as her dad. Speaking of snowflakes, I believe this snowflake right here is also a clue to the knight's identity. But before we get into that, there's something I and many others have noticed about the knight. If you look at its torso and its waist, it reminds me of Papyrus. Now, Papyrus has not been seen in the game so far. In chapter 1, when you knock on Sans and Papyrus's door, it's implied that he's home because of the distant trestle of bones. A reference to the song Bone Trestle that is played during the Papyrus fight in Undertale. Honestly, this right here completely debunked the theory that I've had sitting in my brain for 2 weeks. And that theory is that Papyrus has been here all along, and his name is Rudolph Knight. I can hear the people leaving this video. Let's go for this wild-ass theory. First off, Rudy may or may not die. Whatever it is that he has, he acts like, oh, it's no big deal, just so Noelle doesn't worry. Now, I know Rudy and Papyrus truly could not be anything alike, but I can't imagine being this dark, creepy creature would not make anyone go insane. Also, I've heard a lot of people in the comments talk about chronic wasting disease. It's a pyron disease that affects several species, including reindeer. Some of its symptoms include stumbling or lack of coordination, and also a lack of fear of people, humans. Now, I love Papyrus, but he is not the brightest bulb in the pack. Also, not once has he ever been afraid of Frisk. Another reason I think Papyrus is Rudy, it's this scene in chapter 2, which I had no idea existed until recently. If you go to Sans' store before seeing Rudy, Susie will tell him that Asgore had asked Sans for a free jar of pickles. Rudy feels secondhand embarrassment for him, as the rest of us do. And for absolutely no reason at all, he says, I'll kick that store guy's bony little ass. Well, it just could be him being a bro, looking after his bro, and keeping Toriel single. He then goes on to say, we'll make him into a goddamn xylophone. In Toby Fox's newsletter, we get an interview from Papyrus. Someone asked if he played any instruments since Sans plays the trombone. He says he has always been interested in the xylophone. That could just be a skeleton-related joke, probably one of the oldest ones in the book. I feel that's a little too on the nose, don't you think? I don't know, maybe I'm going crazy. But I also can't help but just look at Rudy's face. And if Papyrus's sprite wasn't at a side view, wouldn't it kind of look the same? As I'm editing this, I just remembered. The winter newsletter from this year, it's got Papyrus, Frisk, Sans, and Toriel dressed in winter sweaters. This is the same sweater that Rudy wears to church. Now it's pretty obvious that everybody except Toriel is wearing the wrong sweater. She even asks Sans, "Are you certain that's your sweater?" He says, "Seems good to me." Whose sweater is he wearing? And what reason does he have to wear his sweater? Whether he even believes that Rudy can possibly be the knight or not. There's one other thing that Papyrus has in common with Rudy. The Holiday family, they're very Christmas, winter oriented. And where is Papyrus's house in Undertale? Snowdin. Now that we've mentioned snow, I can finally go back to the snowflake. Doesn't exactly look like a snowflake, but we all perceived it as one since the knight has antlers, and everyone agrees the knight is one of the holidays. But this thing right here, it looks like a paper snowflake. One where you fold some paper and cut some triangles on the edge, and boom, something totally unique looking. What if I told you that we have seen the snowflake before? In Undertale, before we go fight Papyrus, there's a fog with strange patterns on it. Now this right here, it obviously looks like a skull. If you look at it, you can abstractly see this snowflake sitting between two skulls. There's one more piece of evidence I'd like to add. Not so much about Rudy, but more so about Papyrus. Whenever we fight Papyrus, if we are weak enough, he will stop the fight and he will imprison you in his shed. If this happens 3 times, Papyrus spares you. Despite his desire to become a member of the Royal Guard, he is not willing to kill the human. If we beat the Roaring Knights in Chapter 3, they don't do any harm to Chris. In fact, Chris gets knighted. In Chapter 4, if you manage to reach the knight the first try, Chris will not do anything. Despite the fact that you, as a player, have worked so hard to get up there to kick the knight's ass, Chris has nothing because they are in cahoots with the knight. The knight is not going to hurt Chris, just as Papyrus is not going to hurt the human. Well, I hope this made sense to somebody. At least I got it out of my system. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe, ring that bell, and I'll ring it right back to you.